Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Hundreds of thousands of acres are on fire or have already been burned across Montana as we remain under a disaster declaration by Governor Steve Bullock and 2 states of emergency because of wildfire danger. Almost a dozen major wildfires burning now across western Montana. Here is a look at all the fires threatening thousands of homes in our region. And activity over the weekend was remarkable, as was air quality. Good evening, I'm Jill Valley. Dennis Sprague is off tonight. Dense wildfire smoke settled heavily into the Missoula Valley today. Our air quality was listed as hazardous in Missoula for the first time this fire season. Take a look at what it looked like at times around Missoula today. Hazardous air quality also being reported in Seeley Lake again, as well as in Florence, Lolo, and the Potomac areas. Right now, air quality in Missoula is a little better. It's unhealthy. At this point, we'll take it. Let's go over now to meteorologist Russ Thomas with more. Russ.
All the way up to unhealthy. Yeah, it was about 4 o'clock this morning. The winds really started filtering through the Hellgate Canyon in Missoula specifically and just really drove that smoke in. And ever since then, it has been rough. Air quality alert is in effect for all of western Montana through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, some areas are a little worse than others, and certainly there's a little fluctuation. But all in all, it is just really bad across the entire area. Tough to breathe. You know that if you've been outside, or even if you looked outside and you're inside, chances are you're still smelling the smoke. Here's a look at our St. Joseph Medical Center iCam. This is one example, of course, in Polson. We'll have more coming up.
All right, now it's time to talk about the fires. The Rice Ridge fire near Seeley Lake exploded last night. It nearly doubled in size, the fire adding nearly 50,000 acres last night alone. So this fire is more than 100,000 acres in size right now. Fire Information Officer Mark Mossberg said most of the growth was on the eastern edge of the fire and north of Highway 200 and Cottonwood Lakes Road into the Bob Marshall Wilderness area. Greg Ponson's Type 1 Incident Management Team is taking over management of Rice Ridge tomorrow morning. And as this fire continues to change daily, the weather has played a big impact on fire conditions in the Seeley Lake area. MTN's Kent Lutzen has more on the components that led to the growth of this fire.
A lot of the concern is moving towards the east with this easterly growth. The fire has moved into the area of the Montour Creek guard station. That guard station does have structure protection in place, and it is still fine. It has been protected. Another area of concern yesterday was mandatory evacuations were ordered around the Coopers Lake area just because of the proximity and the rapid growth of the fire to the east.
Northeasterly wind and a cold front coming in from the divide were the key factors into the growth of this Rice Ridge fire. Those components combined with the dense terrain in this area are what drove this fire to grow more than 48,000 acres overnight, prompting even more evacuation orders and warnings for the already fire-savvy residents in this area.
Well, this is my second evacuation. We were here for Jocko Fire in 2007, so we were evacuated then for 6 days. So that time, when we come off the hill late at night, I really thought we'd come back to ashes. But this time, I guess, with the experience, you just hope that everyone's doing what they came here for to help protect.
These residents have no clear end in sight and are constantly on edge as the Rice Ridge fire continues to grow.
There is no definite date, so it's a matter of they have to wait. And it's a big if, if and when do we get back in. That's hard. If we could say it's going to be in 2 days, a week, at least they know it's coming. Right now, we can't even do that because it's an art, not totally a science, the way this is done.
Reporting in Seeley Lake, Kent Lutzen, MTN News.
Evacuations for the Rice Ridge fire remain unchanged in Missoula and Powell counties tonight after new mandatory orders and warnings were issued over the weekend. The evacuation order affects all of Coopers Lake area. The warning area is everything else north of Highway 200 to the west and east boundaries being Missoula and Lewis and Clark counties. The Red Cross continues to operate a shelter for fire evacuees. It's at the University Congregational Church at 405 University Avenue in Missoula. There's also a public meeting to talk about the Rice Ridge fire. It's happening in just a few minutes at 6 o'clock. It's at the Mission Bible Fellowship Church in Seeley Lake. We are there and we'll have more on this tonight at 10 o'clock. The 48,000-acre Lolo Peak fire continues to burn to the west. That prompted the Missoula County Sheriff's Office to issue new evacuation warnings for several homes. Officials issued those warnings yesterday for about 10 homes along Highway 12 between Bear Creek Road and Graves Creek Road west of Lolo. Meanwhile, the Ravalli County Sheriff's Office ordered mandatory evacuations in Florence yesterday. Residents west of Highway 93 from the north side of Bass Creek Road north to the intersection of Hannaford Avenue and Florence-Carlton Loop were ordered to leave. The evacuation warning has also been expanded to include all residents on the south side of Bass Creek Road and west of Highway 93 to South Kootenai Creek Road, including Redtail Hawk Lane. People living near the Lolo Peak fire have been flooding the public information booth in Stevensville throughout the day because they want to know what firefighters expect is going to happen through this week. MTN's Don Fisher shows us the game plan as more and more structures become threatened.
Fire Information Officer Todd Schroeder has been addressing the questions and concerns of residents living near the Lolo Peak fire, speaking to hundreds of folks Monday since the 3-mile spread prompted evacuations near Florence on Sunday.
So very critical weather. That had something to do with pulling the trigger on the evacs. We want to keep people safe, and it's always better to be very proactive and out there in front of those kind of situations. So that had a lot to do with the sheriff deciding to put the evacuations in place.
Schroeder says the fire has now grown to almost 50,000 acres, but there is some good news, as Monday winds blowing from the east have helped push fire away from threatened structures. But Schroeder says a simple shift of the winds could change everything.
We'll be trying to create an area where we can hopefully hook the fire and slow it down, and also create areas where we can build these burn blocks like we have in the One Horse, Sweeney Creek, Bass Creek area.
In Stevensville, Don Fisher, MTN News.
A Red Cross evacuation center is set up at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints located at 100 Middle Burnt Fork Road in Stevensville. There's also a public meeting to talk about the Lolo Peak fire. That is tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the Stevensville High School. The Sprague fire that prompted evacuations over the weekend on the west side of Glacier National Park has now grown to 9,000 acres. The current evacuation area includes the Lake McDonald Lodge area, the Sprague Creek Campground, and the Avalanche Campground, and about 55 private homes. Wind drove the Sprague fire toward Mount Brown, a steep area directly across from the Lake McDonald Lodge complex. As MTN's Nicole Miller tells us, while the fire didn't reach the lodge itself, fire managers say it's not out of the clear.
Again, last night the fire nearly doubled in size, but the good news is it did not get as far as we thought it might.
Glacier National Park's Lake McDonald Lodge did not see the Sprague fire reach it overnight. 45-mile-an-hour winds drove it down the north side of Mount Brown, where the fire is now threatening 500-year-old cedar forests.
The fire did move quite a bit westerly, and it kind of checked up against a different tree species regime. It's checked up against the cedar hemlocks. It was in kind of more of a spruce fir, and it moved further south into the Walton drainage.
And while the fire didn't reach Lake McDonald Lodge, fire managers are still concerned it could and taking every precaution.
East wind driven fire is rare, so we are assessing what's going on, making sure that we have our plan intact. The folks are out still doing some structure protection around the North Lake McDonald area and the Avalanche Creek area.
Here at the fire camp, a Type 2 Incident Command team is stationed with about 127 members. And not only are they stationed here, but all of the supplies they're using to fight the fire are as well. Local Flathead Valley fire departments are using supplies like hoses and sprinklers to protect the lodge if the fire does reach it.
We've had great county and state assist on this fire. We have several local fire departments, structural departments out helping us in the Lake McDonald Lodge complex area, and that is making a huge difference.
Reporting from Glacier National Park, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
And as Nicole told us, local Flathead Valley fire departments, including Evergreen, Bad Rock, West Valley, and Coram West Glacier, are assisting in structure protection at the Lake McDonald Lodge. There's an emergency shelter that was set up at the Canyon Elementary School in Hungry Horse. They've closed that because no evacuees actually need it, but they'll reopen it if that situation changes. Now we have the Myers Fire burning in Ravalli and Granite counties. It added another 15,000 acres yesterday. It's grown to a size of nearly 54,000 acres. The most active burning on this one is on the south and east sides of the fire, with significant growth in the Fish Trap Creek and Carp Creek drainages. The fire has grown to the east of the Continental Divide on the Beaverhead, Deer Lodge, and Bitterroot National Forest. The Granite County Sheriff ordered a mandatory evacuation for Moose Lake last night. The Frog Pond area also remains under an evacuation order. A warning issued last week in the East Fork Road area of Ravalli County remains in place. There is a public meeting for the Myers Fire. It again is in just a few minutes at 6 o'clock at the Billy Springer Memorial Park Clubhouse at 1416 Springer Road in Sula. Representatives from the Darby-Sula Ranger District, the Northern Rockies Incident Management Team, and the Ravalli County Sheriff's Office are going to be there to provide current information. Now we need to take a quick break, but we are not done with our Fire Watch coverage. We'll head to the Caribou Fire in northwest Montana for the latest on what firefighters are doing to fight it. We'll check in on the West Fork Fire and the Highway 200 complex, all significant fires impacting us. We'll get to them in just a few minutes.